You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. Today, we're talking about the energies of the solar system and the most important energy that people take for granted. These energies are truly natural. These energies are the perfect way to develop yourself. These energies support your essence or soul versus programming, which is toxic to your soul and is unnatural. Stay tuned. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, why are using planetary energies so important?
So let's start from the beginning to answer that question.
All right.
Human beings are energy beings with the root of that energy being your essence, or what some people call soul.
Correct.
Up to now, the ecosystem approach, if you've been listening to our show for a while, we're focused on removing the negative energy that's attached to your essence.
Correct.
Very, very powerful. We're not changing our mind about that. That is one of the most important things you can do. But when you start to remove negative energy, who you are comes forward as true self-knowledge, and the ability to use your essence is your life guide.
Yes.
This is natural and in line with the way human beings are designed. So as human energy beings, the most important part of an energy being is your essence, which is an energy.
Okay.
And the reason science doesn't acknowledge it, because it's an energy, you can't measure it, you can't see it.
Right.
They don't see it, so therefore it doesn't exist, okay?
Yeah.
But it exists. And most people would say, yeah, I have a soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a soul.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they would also answer, do I understand it? No.
Well, exactly.
Go ahead.
There is so much negative energy present in the world, and that's what we've been trying to communicate.
Right.
I apologize. I wish I could be all smiley and unicorns and rainbows all the time.
Right.
But this is what we see. It's not what we believe. It's what we see.
Correct.
Okay. And we know that removing the negative energy from your essence is a long process. We're doing it.
Yes.
We haven't completed it. We know that we still have a long way to go. But as you do that, oh my gosh, the things that you see are amazing. The things that you know and can perceive and can become attached to it's hard to describe in English language what that means.
Okay.
But we know how difficult it is to remove that negative energy. And it takes a while.
Yes.
People need, and we know this really well, need a lot of support.
Yes.
They need tools. They need support. How do they do this? This is hard.
Right.
Because that negative energy isn't just a thing. It has a motive.
And it also is, very effective.
Yes.
Let me say it that way.
Motive is it wants to exist. It wants to stay where it's at, and it doesn't want to leave.
Right.
It's like a house guest that won't leave. It's like a relative that moves, that comes over to stay for overnight and
doesn't go
3
away.
months later.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
So, but these tools are hiding in plain sight. What are these tools? These tools are amazing. It gives you all the tools that you could possibly want. What are these tools? They're planetary energies.
Correct.
OMG.
Right.
And these energies are so powerful and amazing for personal growth and evolution.
Correct.
It's not just subtle tools. They're not just little bitty trite tools. They're the most powerful tools that we could use. And we're just beginning to scratch the surface of being able to use this.
Exactly.
And, not to be trite, but you can get them for free. It's completely free. You don't have to pay anything.
Well,
it's not metered.
You have paid. That's one of the biggest problems.
You've paid with the negative energy.
That is exactly
right. And you don't realize the price that you've paid, and most people don't, because they don't really understand the negative energy. That negative energy has tried to normalize itself so that it's like, oh, this is just who I am. Well, no,
right.
Today's development. So if you go out in the world and say, I want to be better. I want to have personal growth. I want to develop myself. I want to evolve.
Yes.
You go to teachers and mentors. You look at processes and methods and programs.
Correct.
All these things are hostile to your essence. Here's the thing.
Okay.
And I need to talk about this.
Okay.
If you go to a mentor for advice.
Okay.
I just came up with this metaphor just a few minutes ago. She says this, but if you were to drink some water,
okay,
and you had a choice between a natural source and what I would call dirty water,
okay,
which would you choose?
Well, I know what I would choose
to make that more poignant.
Okay,
the energies that we're talking about are like drinking from spring water that or runoff that comes from the mountains,
from the top of a mountain.
Yeah, that's crystal clear and it's running over the rocks and it's just pure.
Correct.
You can just dip in and take it.
Yes.
When you go to a teacher or a mentor, and people don't know this, but we're taught unconsciously to get our vital energy from other people.
That is correct, but that's not correct.
That's
you and I both know
that's like drinking water that's brown or dirty or sewer water.
Correct.
It feels like I'm being dramatic, but I'm not. If you could see energy the way we do, when you go to someone else to say, "Oh, help me,"
correct,
that exchange of energy is not organic. It's not organic. It's not natural.
Correct.
It's kind of nasty and disgusting. Now, one of the reasons we have such an amazing marriage, and you probably see this, but is that we do an exchange of energy, but it's really positive. It's a really positive exchange of energy.
And I need to say this: when there isn't positive energy between us, one or both of us will see it, and we stop what we're doing and we get rid of it. We remove that negative energy. So the essence of who we both are can actually communicate in an amazing way.
Exactly. And it's like a clump of dirt. So you're drinking your spring water or your Rocky Mountain rivers coming down. All of a sudden there's a clump of dirt. When you see that, you just pull it out and
exactly. And that's the removing of negative energy. Yes. Or, and now if it was in my case, I would say, well, I might need that clump of dirt
for my garden over
there. For my garden over there. Exactly. But before I actually put it in the garden, I have to tell everyone I would that is the next section. But I do want to say I would activate this very, very, very positive energy so that soil would know exactly what its purpose is.
See, the thing with dark energy, people understand, is that not only does it have a motive and it wants to be attached to you,
yes,
but it exploits your vulnerability. So it looks at the thing that is the most sensitive for you personally. Now, it might not be sensitive for me, but for you personally, it's real. It's crushing.
It is.
And people would say, why is that so crushing? And most people aren't even aware of that vulnerability or those vulnerabilities.
That's correct.
But a lot of people are, and it's crushing to you. And that's why dark energy is so effective. So you need a powerful toolbox to overcome that. That's natural and organic and connected the way you are. So let's just quickly go through. As we struggle to remove this negative energy, we need emotional support.
Yes.
Because it's hard. What do you use? Planetary Energies. As we struggle to remove this negative energy, we need clarity. So many people just don't have clarity about their life or what's going on. Correct. That clarity doesn't come from experiences. It comes from energy.
That's right.
And what energy to use? Planetary Energies. Oh, it's great for that. As we struggle to remove this negative energy, we need strength and persistence. where can you get strength and persistence? Really,
Yes,
you
it's
know,
true.
Planetary Energies.
Yes.
As we struggle to remove this negative energy, we need to overcome fear and shame. Oh my gosh.
It's a
There's
big
so
one.
much. We're still working with our fear and shame.
Yes, we are.
Where do you get support for that? Planetary Energies. And lastly, as you struggle to move this negative energy, you get really mad. You're angry.
Well,
You're
because
yeah.
you start feeling like a victim, or you've been duped, or
Yes.
lied to and cheated, and all of these things. And but one of the best things you can do is use planetary energies to help you stand up and say, not only to yourself but to others, if necessary, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yes.
So, with that said, Jason, what is the quick tip for this segment?
We come into the world with negative energy attached. This negative energy interferes with your function as a human being and your natural connection to your essence.
Right.
The ecosystem approach teaches you to remove that negative energy, but it's difficult, and the energy resists being removed.
Oh,
Using planetary energies helps even the field, so you have more power to remove these energies. As we remove these negative energies, we need emotional support, clarity, strength, and persistence, and help overcoming the fear, shame, and anger. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Planetary energies can provide support and the help that we need. They are untapped resource that is available to human beings without restriction, without cost,
Correct.
without limitation. We only need to understand and know how to use them. This is a game changer for human development and evolution.
I love that. Today, we're going to talk about the planet Pluto. We've been discussing planetary energies and how you can use those energies for support and healing and plain old well-being. These energies are free to anyone who understands how to use them and can be powerful tools for any type of self-improvement and human development. Stay tuned for more about Pluto energy and how to use it.
Yes.
We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, we've been doing a lot of channeling shows lately. Yes. Let's start by telling the audience how you've been using planetary energy for yourself.
You know, I've had blood sugar issues, and I've read a lot of information about blood sugar and how to fix it, but it doesn't seem to work.
Okay.
You know, I look at my diet. My diet is really good, and we don't eat sugar.
No,
we don't eat sweets. I know it sounds pretty boring, but we both do it, and it works for us.
Yes.
And no junk food, of course, and lots of fresh vegetables and protein. So,
correct.
And
also regular exercise.
Yes, a lot of regular exercise.
Yes.
But my father, who's dead now, is I see that he's possessed my pancreas, which is
he has
responsible for your blood sugar.
Yes.
And that system controls insulin and blood sugar in your body.
Right. And enzymes. Yes.
Yeah. So when I look at myself, I see an inflamed pancreas. I ask her to look at me, and there's a possession by my dad. Now that sounds, if you've just tuned in and it sounds really out there for you, the more you understand energy, you know, possession sounds really Hollywood and witchcrafty and
or airy-fairy.
Yeah. Yes. And the truth is that if you can see energy, if you can start to see these subtle energies,
correct,
they get mixed up. We don't have, our energy field is not distinguished separate from everybody else's.
Okay.
Our energies, especially when they're in our family,
yes,
they blend together in
yes,
ways
they do.
that
yes,
are sometimes really toxic,
you know,
and really dysfunctional.
Exactly. I really wish people could sit back and see like a family function and see how things connect. Oh my goodness. The I want to say not only the colors, but the way the energy moves, and if somebody different comes into a room, oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, because Jason and I can see energy, it's like, oh, okay, I'll sit back and observe and see what's going to happen next.
If you went to a family function and you saw that look that your mother always gives you, and then see the response,
Yes.
and see, two siblings, one would respond like in a huge way.
Yes.
One, there's no response whatsoever.
Exactly.
It's we've been talking about this a lot, and we're going to continue to talk about this.
Yeah.
But this is part of the how you can use energy in general.
Exactly.
Planetary energies more specifically, and more specifically even than that, Pluto energy. So that's what we're talking about today.
Today, yes.
So I've been using Pluto energy for my pancreas.
Right.
And it's really helped. And it's not like it's black and white. It's not like a switch flicked or something. But I know my blood sugar issues are getting better.
They are.
And
they are.
And I'm losing weight slowly but surely. And
also inches.
Yes.
I mean, the inches are, it's wow. It's nice to see that when you remove something that has been negative to you, it doesn't happen overnight. I need to say this. It doesn't happen overnight. But when you start to see the improvement in a person, well, for me that I live with, it's an awesome sight. And it's so, I don't want to say it's so easy. It is easy for someone to change
once you understand,
once you understand in a very positive way.
I've always known this, that if someone was, and this sounds a little ghoulish, but if someone was dying in front of me, and people, I can imagine a spouse staying there and say, do something.
Yes.
I would instinctively, so just so you understand, my moon sign, which is governs my emotions,
yes,
is ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto.
Okay, very good.
I have a lot of Pluto energy. I understand Pluto energy, but we're going to talk some more about that later on. But I know that I could just touch someone if I had to.
Yes,
and send healing energy into them. Would that be successful in every case? Probably not. Would it save someone?
It could, yeah,
but maybe not.
Yes.
It's not that simple. It's not that straightforward. But Pluto energy, and this is one of the first things, and I didn't emphasize this enough in this.
Okay.
But is healing energy.
Yeah.
If you have that Pluto energy and you touch someone, if you touch yourself, if you take it in for yourself, you can heal that ankle, that got twisted ankle, or that.
Pluto energy has, I'm just going to jump in and say, Pluto energy has a knowing and a strength about it.
Yes.
That is, this is what I need. This is what I'm needed for right now.
Yes. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
And what we do, we look at the aspects of Pluto, and then we create metaphors for
those.
Yes,
we do.
And that's one way of looking at the energy.
Yes.
I've been channeling Pluto all week, and it's not very chatty.
No.
It's not chatty. It doesn't say, "Oh, here I am. Let's talk." Blah blah. It's like, "What do you want?" Get to it. It seems almost
direct.
It's very direct.
Yes.
It seems it doesn't want to talk about the weather.
No,
it wants to talk about deep things. It wants to talk about things
that's correct,
that have meaning, and healing is one of those, especially if it's something big like cancer or whatever.
Correct.
So,
but I
think that's probably, if I was going to take something away from this show,
okay,
that Pluto can be used for healing, I think is probably the most important thing.
Well, and I want to say, I have actually seen you connect with different people. And I've seen when someone has had a broken heart, all you have to do is put your arms around them, and you can see the hurt of that broken heart. I can see it just fall away. And the people don't even realize that's what's happening, but that's what you do.
Well, and frankly, that's very nice, but I don't do it very often.
No, you don't.
And I'm very discriminating about who
Yes.
I do it with, which is very Pluto-like. So let's talk about that.
Okay. All right. Very good.
It is the farthest from the sun.
Okay.
So it likes to act in the background, covert. It likes to be unseen. Doesn't like to draw
It
attention
doesn't
to
go,
yourself.
ta-da, I'm here.
It wouldn't,
Yeah.
it wouldn't wear a color to a black and white ball.
Oh,
example,
absolutely not.
And
Yes.
and Pluto, if you go to the astronomy of it, is cold. It's really cold.
Mhm.
And so the mountains actually are created from ice. It takes gases that have been frozen so deeply that it creates literally ice mountains
Yes.
on the surface. So
Yes.
It has this power for transformation,
Mhm.
but it's not the warm kind of gushy, like your mom. Oh, come
It's
here,
not
dear.
warm and fuzzy,
Yeah,
that's for
it's
sure.
not. It's
Yes.
not. And
It has purpose.
it also has the ability to do harsh, difficult things. And I've always known this about myself, that if it had something to do with my family, I could do something harsh. I was in the military. I never had to kill anybody, but I was in a go-to-war unit, so I thought about it a lot.
Sure.
I would kill for my unit, but if it was for my family, I would be very cold and calculating. The best example of that, I think,
Okay.
there was a movie we saw lately. I know we're running out of time, but it's called Where the Crawdads Sing. And this girl basically grew up in a marsh. She
in the South,
basically like one of those kids without parents that weren't socialized.
Correct.
And she just grew up on her own. They thought she was retarded or something in town, but she basically lived out there in the marsh, and she learned from nature.
Yeah.
And as she grew up, she had her first boyfriend.
Right.
And he eventually betrayed her and raped her.
Yes.
And at some point, she went back. And you don't know about this till the end of the show if you've ever watched it, but she went back and she murdered him coldly and with calculation.
Correct.
And she covered her tracks, and she made sure that no one knew about it. And she just did it.
And what's your point of talking about the movie?
That's very Scorpio-like. That's very Pluto-like.
That is correct.
Because he shouldn't have been allowed to get
away with that. That's correct. Jason, what is the quick tip for this segment?
Using Pluto as planetary energy can be helpful, but due to its intensity, it can be tricky. Its power can be used for transformation and healing, but transformation has to be in alignment with the authentic person. We'll talk some more about that next segment.
Okay.
Otherwise, it can be used, can be dark or used in a dysfunctional way that comes from ego. It loves to be covert and hates to draw attention to itself. It's associated with life and death issues, and it hates superficial issues and feels that it's beneath the mundane parts of life. Its power can be used in powerful healing ways that with specific organs or systems that are attached, and can really go to the heart of dark energy that's in a body that creates illness and disease.
The planet Mercury is a very valuable planet when using planetary energies for your everyday life. With struggles and difficulties in life, they always become emotional. The way to overcome these difficulties is to create more objectivity and being more rational. Something I'm trying to learn, everyone. Using the energy of the planet Mercury can help you create the energy of objectivity for those difficult emotional circumstances. Today, we will address all of the misinformation about Mercury in retrograde and how to see that energy, well, more objectively. Stay tuned. We're married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Okay, Jason. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. we normally look at a planet when we're channeling planets, and then we talk about it with each other. Well, when we're on the show, we're just, we've already discussed it. So it sounds like the information that we're sharing is just information. Today, we're going to discuss in front of you, the audience, without discussing it between us first before the show. So, Jason, you get to go first.
Well, and we did it this way because we have these amazing discussions behind the scenes.
We do.
And people, I know people would really enjoy it, but by the time it gets to you, we've already discussed it. So we're just regurgitating what we've already discussed. So,
right.
So why don't you go first? Because you've got your little list there.
Well, it's not actually a list. What I did, Jason suggested to me to go take a look at the planet Mercury by yourself. In other words, we did not do this together. And first off, I found this really, really, really interesting. Mercury is part of my
natal chart.
Part of my natal chart. And so, but I'm really just starting to learn about how to actually use Mercury. So this show is actually very valuable for me.
And so for people that understand astrology,
right,
her moon is in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury.
Exactly. And it's really interesting. So what I did was I went and looked, and Mercury's has all of the planets have forms of information or energies that all of us have access to. And for us here on Earth, it's our I want to say job. That's not exactly the right word, but it's our job to see what those energies are and understand them and how to use them. And the thing that I found
it's beneficial to use them for us.
Yes, benefit.
We can use them. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Well, they've been here for thousands of years, and we're just now starting to really learn how to use them. That amazes me.
Well, what's ironic, I think, is that they affect us, but we don't use them,
and we don't even realize.
So instead we just become victims of them, as opposed to saying, okay, I'm gonna use this energy for my benefit, as opposed to just being, it's a full moon tonight.
Exactly.
And I just broke up with my boyfriend, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
Then you're being a victim. But, I just broke up with my boyfriend. I'm going to ask Jupiter to find me 3 others.
Tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
and by the way, we're laughing at that because we've actually had clients say, hey, what do I need to, what negative energy do I need to remove so I can have 3 boyfriends to show that last boyfriend up? Anyway, so we're making a joke of it, but it's the truth. The thing that I found out about Mercury, which I just absolutely love, Mercury has the ability to help us with balance and harmony and in our emotions, so that we can use objectivity to change our perspective, or change our perspective and then use objectivity to get the best of what we need for ourselves. And it amazes me because I was never taught anything like this. Anyone who's been listening to the show, or anyone who knows me personally, knows I'm really emotional. And it has been a quest for me to put down the emotionality and say, well, where do I even get objectivity?
Well, to create more balance.
To create more balance for me. And as I've been doing this more and more, we've been working on the planets for like 6 months now. Has it been that long? I find great benefits in those planetary energies, because each one of us, and remember, each one of us every day has the ability to use any of the planetary energies, but to be able to understand what you need in the moment, or in the day, that is a gift.
So what about Mercury?
Mercury itself has the ability to help us, give us the ability to change our perspective of a situation, or even our lives, and let us use or have objectivity in our life, and then understand what balance is all about. Because I don't think more than half the people out there even understand that.
Well, and when I was channeling Mercury,
Okay.
I got this presence, this personality. All the planets have a personality.
They do, just
And
like us.
it was like what's that society for geniuses, for high people with
I wouldn't have a clue about that.
yeah, anyways, I just can't remember the name of it, but
okay.
it felt very male. It felt very
Yes.
arrogant, to be honest, very arrogant,
Well,
and saying, this is what I know. Um, um, there's a little bit of grievance there. We're going to talk about that in the next segment about
Okay.
Mercury and retrograde,
right.
because it feels misunderstood.
Yes.
But there's a confidence there that about the intellect that I know what I know, and don't even dare question me.
Well, and that don't even dare question me. That is not exactly the truth, because Mercury has a purpose. All of the planets, just like all of us, Mercury has a purpose. And so we've given Mercury that arrogance or that right to be arrogant. And we've never thought, well, wait a minute, if I look at it from a different perspective, maybe I'll see something
so
different.
I don't know I understand what you're trying to say.
What I'm saying is that one of the things I've learned, and especially in the last few months, is that if I change my perspective, I can see something different than what I've always seen. If I change how I look at something, or how I or let go of how I feel about something, I can see something different that could be beneficial to me, and especially if I use objectivity.
But I'm just talking about the personality, because for me,
right,
too much Mercury is too much. It's like the smarty pants at the party, and if the smarty pants can be really intellectual about certain things if you're trying to solve
Correct.
a problem.
Right.
But when it comes to doing shots or jumping, throwing water balloons off the balcony,
Right.
he just stands back. Yeah.
But here's the part that was good. I'm impressed.
I was never a frat boy.
No, exactly. Yes. But the bottom line is that what I'm saying is that there are two sides to everything. I don't care if you're the sun, you're the moon. There are two sides to everything. There are two sides to Mercury. And when you find that balance within you in how to use Mercury for you in your best interest, that's my point. I didn't say it before, but that is my point.
Well, finding the balance is hard, because Mercury, by definition, because it's all intellect, it's all logic,
it becomes steadfast.
And imbalanced if that's all you use.
But that's not the makeup of who we are. And when you understand that, then you go, wait a minute, here I need a little bit of Mercury, i.e., objectivity, and here I have a lot of emotionality. Oh, let's lower that emotionality and raise. In other words, this is about, if you use the ecosystem approach, I'm going to bring it home, sweetie. If you use the ecosystem approach, that gives you the opportunity to create a balance for yourself, because when you remove negative energy, then you can change things.
Well, and I guess what I'm hearing you say is that balance doesn't come from Mercury; it comes from us.
That is correct, but we have the right to choose how much we use.
Well, exactly. So if you put if you're baking something, you put too much
salt in it. Oh yeah, done it.
Salt in the recipe, then it's not going to taste very good. It's the same thing with Mercury, and that's what I'm getting.
Yes.
With his arrogance, it just needs small doses of it, and then it gets out of hand.
Okay, so
and part of that is something we read the metaphors. What we know about Mercury is that it can be as hot as 800 degrees on the bright side.
That's correct.
But on the dark side, it's on 290 degrees below zero. I mean, the contrasts are huge.
But if you look at objectivity and emotionality, the contrast is huge.
Yeah,
exactly. So with that said, Jason, what quick tip do you have for our audience right now.
Mercury is smart, and that intelligence comes from an objectivity that is considerable.
Yes.
However, intelligence and objectivity can be flipped into something really dark because it's so powerful. Total objectivity can morph into something diabolical because it lacks caring and can be completely disconnected from human empathy and the emotional connections to other human beings. You know, if Mercury came to the party, he wouldn't go home with very many girls, because that just objectivity is not balanced by itself.
Correct.
And I guess that was my point that I was trying to make.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
It's the balance of objectivity and emotionality that will help humanity evolve. The intensity of Mercury being so close to the sun always needs to be considered when using Mercury energy.
Exactly. Today, we're going to talk about the sun and how you can use this really intense energy in the best ways for your daily life. We're going to discuss how you can use it for confidence, attractiveness, personal empowerment, and a special form of vision. We'll also discuss the dark side of using too much sun energy that you probably haven't thought about. Stay tuned. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, the sun is such a big part of daily life for all of us. We live our days based on whether it's sunny or whether it's not. Let's talk about what the sun has to say.
You know, we're going to talk about that, but I grew up in Minnesota, and I still have contacts there. We have clients there.
Yes, we do.
And you know, this I got to get out of here. You know, January, February, because it's like this gray overcast.
Oh yeah,
and it affects people. People go nuts.
Yes,
you know?
They do.
Without sun, you know, whether you're living in Minnesota, you're in a Turkish prison, you know, it doesn't matter. You need that sun.
Yes.
And one of the nice things about the area that we live in now, which is just outside of Yosemite in California, it's sunny. Even when it's overcast, and then you know, usually we get a few hours of sun somewhere or another,
and usually almost every day.
Yeah.
So yes,
it's a big deal. So when we talk to the sun, and there's so much information there, and we're going to grab the highlights here.
Yes, we are.
So we make it usable for you, but it likes to be used in big, expansive ways. It doesn't want to be used for trite things, you know.
Right.
It hates being used in ways that are unfitting to its power, its stature.
That's correct.
You know, and some people call that arrogance. We're going to talk some more about that a little bit, but the sun is the biggest thing in the solar system.
That's true.
So it's
hence the solar system.
It's not arrogance, really. It's just a fact, ma'am. You know, it's just that's just the way it is.
Yes.
But it's also, the light from the sun is also a perfect metaphor of good and bad, because the sun can be healing. It makes you feel happy, alive. Yes.
Yeah.
It can create electricity and makes things grow.
Yes.
Without the sun, her garden would be very unhappy, and it can keep you warm in the winter.
Yes,
you know,
it's true.
When it's a bazillion degrees below zero outside. Again, I'm remembering Minnesota.
Yeah.
Just sun coming into a room can really warm it up, even when it's that cold. So
and I'm sorry, I have to say, one time we had visited Minnesota for several reasons, but it had been gray for about 5 days. We were there for a little more than a week, I think. And I said to him, and I didn't even realize, I'm from California, everybody. And I said, is this that gray that you were talking about? And the answer wasn't, yeah, it is. It was Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So the negative side of the sun is that it can literally burn you to death.
That is correct.
Yeah, we saw this movie lately about they strapped someone down on the ground and just rode away the idea that the sun would kill them.
Yes.
It was pretty ghoulish.
Yes.
When there's a disruption on the surface of the sun, this is my area. The electronics go out. You have radios and disruptions and communications and literally you learn this as little kids. You can't just look at the sun directly.
It will blind you. That is exactly right.
So
and what about in emotional terms, Jason?
Well, I mean, blind you from the truth is extending that metaphor.
Okay.
With too much clarity can be overwhelming, and then you can't see anything.
Yes.
So, okay, it doesn't like to be compared to planets, because there is no comparison. True. It likes big ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going to use it, big confidence, big change, upstages all the other planets because their energy is smaller and less significant.
Okay.
It has a reputation for arrogance, but we talked about that. It just is. It's not arrogant if you're the king of the jungle, you're the king of the jungle.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it. Yes. So, we see that sun energy can be used for confidence.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got the sun behind you, you've got this.
Yes.
But too much confidence is arrogance again.
Yes. But I also see that the sun, in its way, it demands respect. If you don't respect the elements or the properties of the sun, you could be in big trouble. But when you do respect it, you can gain an understanding not only of the sun itself, but an understanding of yourself.
Yes. And if you understand that the sun rules the astrology sign of Leo.
Yes.
If you're a Leo out there and you're adding sun energy, there's nothing wrong with that. But just be careful in human terms. Too much of that could be perceived as arrogance.
Correct.
In a way that even though it may be true, it still can be off-putting to other people.
Well, one of the things I like about the sun energy connected to Leo is someone who has a major amount of Leo in their chart. Thank you. They can walk into a room. They don't have to say a word. Their presence becomes known. It's just there. That's not arrogance. It is what it is.
So it, big ideas, confidence. It's also for big changes. I see this here all the time, and this is a guy thing. Okay, I admit, but when there's a big bulldozer, a big grapple, it can do a lot of big work.
Yes, it can.
We see people doing tree work here all the time. They don't come in with small little implements. They have big things to lift the big trunks and all those things. It's great for big change.
I agree.
The other thing is that there's an attractiveness to it.
Oh,
we were talking about Minnesota
because it shines light on everything around.
Yes.
And when you have the correct degree of light, there's beauty everywhere.
Well, and again, there's always a double sword with the sun. With too much, it can wash out everything else.
That is correct. Yes.
So another way to use that is personal empowerment.
Talk about that one.
If you're trying to say, okay, I need to put myself out there. I need to be bigger. I need to be bold. I need to be there. Sun energy can be really good.
Nice.
And it doesn't ever waffle in terms of the amount of power it has. It's always there. It is yes. And more than enough.
Yes.
And it's also great for vision. We don't think of the sun energy for vision, but if you want to, we watch all these overlanding shows now, but if you're out in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night,
right,
all these Jeeps have all these lights on the front and on the bumper and on the side. So everything is lit up. That reminds me of the sun. When you put all that light to a certain area,
Yes.
things you can't live in the shadows. Those issues that need to come forward can't be in the shadows anymore.
Well, could you say that the sun has a way of showing the truth? Would you say that as being a true statement?
It does. Yes, it can.
It can.
Again, it can wash out everything else.
Sure, of course.
So there's nothing there. The other thing is sometimes the truth that needs to be exposed is very subtle, and sometimes you can't bring forth that subtlety that way.
Right. Right. Well,
but it's also vision. We don't think of vision in terms of the sun, but
no, not at all.
If you have a big idea,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna stop global warming. We're gonna stop poverty. That sort of thing.
Right.
Those big ideas can be really benefited by the sun energy. So
because in just those two alone, if you don't have the sun to see what the truth of everything is, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Yes.
You're not going to make changes.
And if you're motivated or if you're being called to do something big,
yes,
you might want to use a lot of sun energy.
Exactly.
So take a minute right now and just take a deep breath and try and think to yourself, okay, how can I use sun energy for me personally?
Yes.
How can I use it in my life?
Yeah.
Because that's the best use. That's the big use for you personally.
Exactly. So in fact, I would say for those who just did that, I see that a lot of people out there, when you said that, they went, oh, I'm not sure I want to see the truth of everything because I'm afraid. And in the clearings,
a little bit of sun can help you with courage.
It really, really can. So all right, Jason, what are the quick tips of this segment?
The sun is unlike anything else in the universe. It's bigger, brighter, and more powerful than the planets.
Correct.
Use the energy sparingly and with discretion.
Yes.
When used in the best way, it can be a source of confidence. It can be attractive and have vision.
Mm-hmm.
It is the number one energy for personal empowerment and can support a person in a lifelong journey to do something and have the best things of the world. The sun, using the sun energy is always a double-edged sword because when overused, it can be harmful and disruptive.
All right.
So if listening today, you said, oh my gosh, I need to use planetary energies. I want to use sun energy. I want to use these tools in my life. Here's what you do. First, go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for a free section. You get our weekly newsletter. We don't sell your email, any of that.
Right.
But we give you the clearings every week, and it's all written out for you. The picture of the processor, it's all there.
Love it. Absolutely.
And then listen to our show every week.
Right.
Go to our Facebook page to do that, and you could theecosystemapproach.org. We have all of our videos there. Like us while you're there. We'd appreciate that. And it's that simple.
Okay. We'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.